It's about understanding the language of the body. In this relationship, it's normally the mind who has to do the work. What happens is very often is that the mind wants something the body doesn't have the capacity or the willingness to do. You start to build this relationship to the point where you start to feel good.
How do you become skilled in communication with yourself?
I'm going to tell you now.
Okay. All right, Trevor Hall. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thanks, Paul. How are you, Cassim?
All good, all good. How we feeling, man? It was a night.
It was. Out of the cricket, I did not eat well. But hey, it's all good.
Trevor looks like the type of guy who had a good night's rest.
Yes, indeed.
I did, actually. I was in bed by 10.
We're at a place called Canela, and we are trying this incredible coffee, not coffee. What is it?
It's a coffee replacement called mesquite.
It is so good.
It's lovely. It's a superfood. And like I said to you earlier, I don't know much about it. I just know that it's better for you than coffee, apparently.
Okay.
And I think it's got antioxidants in it.
Fantastic. All right, so obviously we're on the Dad Bod Challenge. It's the Dad Bod to Mad Bod that we are busy on our little journey, and we're asking you to come and join the journey with us. But over the course of this period, we're also going to be chatting to people who understand health, not only physical but mental health as well. So, Trevor, before we get on to what you do now, let's go through your background. I mean, you were a professional sportsman yourself. Just tell us about how you got to where you are now.
Correct. So I played rugby professionally from the age of 21. I started off at the Lions up in Johannesburg, and then I did a stint at SV Deer for a couple of seasons to get Currie Cup experience, and then from there went back to the Lions and the Cats, played Super Rugby, Currie Cup, and then I ended up in Biarritz Olympic, which is a team in the top 14. Well, we were in the top 14 when I was playing there in France. I played a whole lot of top 14 and Heineken Cup games, and then came back to the Lions, and I finished my career actually through injury at the Lions. So my back just became unplayable. And from there, I decided that I wanted to go back to university and study. And I started studying psychology. I started my journey to become a psychologist, and 7 years later I was qualified. And then I moved down to Cape Town to start a practice, and 4 years later, here I am.
Wow.
Nearly 5 years later, actually. 5 years later. Here I am.
What a journey.
Yeah, indeed. So how do you think your journey as a professional sports person actually helps your current career? I mean, obviously it does big time, because you can understand players a lot more.
So let me just make it clear that my practice at the moment, I don't only see sports people. I see people with anxiety, with depression, with mental distress, mental pathology, a whole lot of different things. But my area of research and what I'm very, very interested in is the psychology of sports injury. So how to come back from injury, etc. So in terms of that, my interest was piqued obviously when I was playing rugby, because I had a lot of injuries. It was a constant seasonal thing to get injured, to come back from it, to maintain, to play again, dealing with the anxieties of coming back, the fears of coming back.
Yes, of course.
Overriding, superseding, accepting, all of these things that most sports people, and especially in the contact sports, we kind of learn as we go along.
Yeah.
But I discovered when I was playing, or actually what I observed, was that there were so many athletes who would get injured and actually who wouldn't make it back. There would be people who, for all intents and purposes, they could have actually come back from their injuries, etc., but they didn't. They ended up getting re-injured, and then some of their social life, would collapse, and then some mental health issues would crop up, and they would play out their contracts and not come back to the club, etc. And then there were players who did, like myself, who we would get through these things.
Yeah.
So while I was playing, I was observing these things, and obviously I didn't have the vocabulary that I would have now. Not that I've got an incredibly good vocabulary, but it's a lot better now than it was when I was sort of taking line-out balls and kickoffs, and can we swear in here? But fucking voort, with these things. So, although I didn't have the vocabulary to describe it, there were these observations that I was making, and so when I was studying, I decided to actually research the lived experiences of injured athletes using a population of Super Rugby players.
Okay.
And so I did the study and whatnot, and then got a very good understanding of what psychologically sports people and people generally, because you can extrapolate from a small sample of people how the general population might be feeling about things and experiencing the same kind of issues.
Yes.
So I got a pretty good understanding of what goes on when somebody gets injured.
Yeah.
Psychologically speaking, the anxieties they go through, the fears they go through, the way it impacts their social life, the way it impacts their understanding of how to create goals for themselves, how that whole goal setting, life setting experience kind of shifts automatically. And then what I did was I took that and I designed a group therapy intervention for injured athletes that I ran with the Lions in 2019. And then from there, I created this online program called Comeback. That currently I'm running at the moment, where people go onto the program and it just helps them psychologically as they go through injuries. They can do it automatically, or sometimes I can help them along through that program. But it's a whole system we can talk about a bit later.
Okay, fantastic.
That's amazing.
All right, so in terms of the everyday man on the street who might be going through mental health issues, not really from a point of view of sort of general things that are really happening in their life, but mainly from the way their body is at the moment. Do people generally suffer from, I would like to say, depression, or just feeling down about their body, and obviously self-conscious? But when you are feeling good, you're feeling confident, and it comes across. But when you not in the best of health, when maybe you've got that beer belly, that gut, do people feel really down about that?
Definitely. We as human beings, we're not just a mind, we're not just a body, or we're not just a social element. We all of those things together.
Yeah.
And as human beings as well, we're constantly looking for some sort of harmony in our lives. And you'll feel, I'm sure we were speaking earlier, you'll feel when one of those things is out of kilter.
Yeah.
So your mind, wants certain things. Like I said, we project ourselves into the future. I want a better career, I want a better relationship, I want more money, I want deeper connections with my kids and my family, with my friends. I want, which is a natural thing to have as a human being.
Yeah.
Even if you want to be incredibly spiritual and go to a Buddhist temple and meditate all day, there's an ambition that comes with that.
Yes.
It's just a spiritual ambition.
Yeah.
I will be the best relinquisher of material things possible, and I'll be the best Buddhist that there might be.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think you get some people who really are they able to transcend that eventually. But as human beings, we want certain things, and we need our body, minds, and souls really to be working in unison.
Yes.
To get what it is that we want, and very, very often, when something goes out of kilter, when suddenly, I might be working in a corporate or whatever it is, and I might be mentally feeling burnt out to a certain extent. I could go into anxiety, I could go into some form of sadness and depression and lowness. the body will also take a bit of a hammering. Okay, my social life will take a hammering as well.
Yes.
I won't want to, I'm sad, I'm
don't
feeling
wanna
a bit
see
sore.
people.
I don't want to see people.
Yeah.
So I retract from the world, because it's a defense. I need time to consolidate myself. I need time to figure out what's going on. And from that, if you're lucky, if there is still that willpower and you're not exhausted completely, you don't go into pathology.
Yeah.
Pathology is really about becoming dysfunctional, something. I can't work anymore, I can't socialize anymore, I can't go to my place of education or anything. That becomes a real problem.
Yes.
But outside of that, the retracting oneself from their life is a kind of defense. It's a time for you to reconsolidate yourself and,
And
say,
regulate,
okay,
right?
And regulate.
Yeah.
Okay. So to answer your question, yes, if you're feeling out of shape, if you feel like you've sort of let yourself go to a certain extent, you're not feeling the positive about your body, you're not feeling like your body is doing what you would like it to be able to do.
Yeah.
There's a body-mind disconnect. Okay, it's kind of like a relationship. I was actually thinking about it this morning when I woke up, because I was thinking about what you guys might be asking me, and just to make sure I don't, because I can ramble. I hope I'm not rambling now, but I can go off on all these
Rambling's the
different.
best thing when you're interviewing somebody. You can ramble all you want.
I
That's
go
what
off on
you
all these
need.
tangents and stuff. I normally come back to the point, but I was thinking about it this morning, and I often describe the body-mind disconnect through injury, and it's I think it holds true for what you guys are doing as well with this challenge that you're going through. Is that it's like a relationship. It's like a relationship with your wife or your partner, or whomever. Okay.
Yeah.
An intimate relationship, where in an intimate relationship that's going well, you guys are talking to each other, you are listening to each other, you're communicating well, you're kind of enjoying what it is that each other are bringing to the relationship.
Yes.
Kasim, like, I suspect that your wife enjoys coming to watch you play.
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
And enjoys the, being around you with that, and she gets something out of it, as
Yes.
you would get something out of what she's bringing.
Exactly.
Okay. So now you guys are in unison, and you're going along your life, and things are good.
Yes.
Okay. Then suddenly what happens, all right, is the communication breaks down for a little bit. Perhaps you start getting a little bit tired, you don't feel like going and doing the stuff that you've normally been doing, and your wife starts going to you, hey, you're changing a little bit here. I'm not too sure what's happening. Now, you can either start communicating about it, okay, and you work through that to a point where you still have that understanding.
Yes.
But in some relationships, it doesn't happen. One of you might become a bit passive aggressive. Oh,
Yes.
you're right. No, I'm fine.
Yes.
Defense.
And in most cases, I think, really, I can only speak from myself. That's exactly where you go. You know what I mean? Because I think it's like, oh well, I don't want this to become an issue. It's the first thing, right? You're like, this isn't going to become an issue, so no, I'm fine. And so you take it on. Especially like I was telling you outside of this, it was with 3 kids under 6. There's a lot, right?
Yes.
My wife, she's a stay-at-home mom, so she takes care of that. So with a 10-month-old and a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old on school holidays, you can imagine what my home is like. So it's a lot to deal with. So I love that you just said that, because that's exactly where we are at, and that's why I said the word regulate, because we've been listening to a lot of podcasts on helping our kids regulate before bed or at a certain time, and watching their movements and their energy levels dip and incline.
They're learning how to regulate.
They're learning, you know what I mean? So, and I took that straight on. I was like, man, even us as adults need to regulate.
Exactly.
We need that, because if we don't have that, and so I'm fortunate enough that when I get home after the crazy day and we put the kids down, we do have that time where we have one-on-one. Look, how are you really doing? You know what I mean?
Yes.
How are you feeling? Tell me. And then, now I'm feeling cack, man. I don't feel it, girl. The kids are making me mad. There's load shedding in between all of that. We can't do anything. So all of those things, and not having time to work out, because she's postpartum right now. So it's like, she wants to work out. She wants to do all of these things, and she doesn't have the time to get to it. And when she does have the time to get to it, it's like, I'm tired. I don't feel like working out right now. You know, so on both sides of the spectrum, bringing it back to what you're actually saying is that. And so you're 100% correct in what you're saying. So I'm definitely taking that home.
No, well, exactly. But it sounds like you guys are communicating really well about it.
Yes.
And you'll find your dynamic again.
Yes.
Okay. So you've got you got your wife. You guys are talking these things through. One's listening, one's speaking, and you change, and the roles change. But you're going on your way. You're finding your way.
Yes.
And there's a mutual respect as well. Okay. So now what happens is in exactly the same manner in the body and the mind. Okay. Because you're in relationship to yourself. Okay. What happens is very often is that the mind wants something the body doesn't have the capacity or the willingness to do. And the body can start getting passive aggressive.
Like maybe wanting to become a footballer.
Well, you could become a footballer, perhaps, but you got to ask your body if your body wants to become a footballer.
My body's not up for it.
Your body's going to say, "Listen, okay, maybe not now."
Yeah.
Once we've done the body challenge, maybe I could start playing football and we can play some five-a-side or something.
Well, that's the goal. That's the goal. Yeah.
And this is the whole thing. I explain it to people, especially who are injured. When everything's going well, the body-mind, they're in unison.
Yeah.
The mind demands something of the body, and the body says, okay, I can do this. All right. I'm a bit tired, but I'll push through. I'm not going to go into pain, but and the mind, if there's a good relationship, like Kasim, you describing your relationship,
yes,
the mind's going to listen to the body, and the body is going to listen to the mind. Okay, and there's going to be a knowing between the subtle difference between pain that you can push through, so that'll be more fatigue. The body being a little bit stubborn sometimes because the body wants to relax. It wants to go sometimes as well, but we're designed to go the path of least resistance.
Yes.
Okay. But at the same time, we're also designed to better ourselves through pushing ourselves through things.
Yeah.
You'll never grow unless you put weight on yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm using these metaphors, but the weight of responsibility.
Yes.
I'm going to, I'm with Heart FM, I got the show and everything. You meet Kasim, and suddenly it's like, well, hang on, we can do a podcast. And okay, I'm going to put extra weight on me now.
Yes, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay, because where I was now, although it was really cool, I feel like I can do more.
Yeah,
I want to push myself.
Exactly.
All right, and that's really what growth's about. That's what learning's about. Growth's about sport. If you think about what we're doing with sport and why sport is such a wonderful thing to watch, is it's a representative of that whole journey of growth.
Yeah.
Setting targets, scoring, pushing through things, getting up when there's so much in sport, and physical exercise that's representative of what it is we kind of do in life.
So how, if your body and your mind are having this little bit of an argument,
sometimes they get divorced. They do.
Well, if they're
in bad injury, it's divorce, man.
If,
it's like
if they're heading towards counselling, then how do you mediate that? How do you get to the point where your body and your mind are on the same page? Basically,
you got to, like Kasim was saying, you got to communicate with each other. All right. So the same as in a relationship where you feel there's something wrong, one of you, hopefully both, recognize that, and but one of you at least has to say, listen, I need to sit down. We need to sit down. We need to talk this through. Okay. I feel like I'm not hearing what you're saying. I feel like I'm not understanding what you're saying. I want to understand. What is it you want? And that's what you'll say to your wife often.
Yeah.
I'm sure. What do you want from me? Because this is what I want from this relationship. So now, the body speaks in code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It speaks in feeling. It's got a different language, kind of, to the mind. All right. It's feeling orientation. It's energy level. It's all feeling, basically. And that's really the house of the unconscious. Yeah, I don't want to get too much into the technical details of sort of psychoanalysis or anything like that, but the unconscious is really housed in the body. It's the feeling aspects of the individual.
Yeah.
All right. It's symbolic. It's representative. It's all of these things. The mind has language. Okay, it's the mind that directs us. We can say, listen, this is what I want. This is where we're going, etc., etc. So, becoming skilled in the relationship between your mind and body is about asking your body and listening to what it is that it's telling you.
Yeah.
Okay. Through the feeling aspects of this
It's
relationship.
like feeding it when it's hungry.
Yes.
Yes, but
Up to a point. Okay. It's about understanding the language of the body. All right. And normally in this relationship, it's normally the mind who has to do the work.
Yes.
Okay. Especially at this stage. You know, you guys are on this this journey now of getting back into shape and
Yes.
whatnot. So your body is used to. You've been in divorce from your body for a while.
oh yes.
Okay. In fact, you've moved out.
You're separated.
You're separate. You're not divorced. You're separated.
Yeah.
Better. Okay. It didn't go through the lawyers or anything. You're separated, and your body.
We haven't
actually,
decided who gets the arm yet.
exactly. You know, so your body's moved out, and your mind's, you know, just thinking or flipped. I even need my body back here, and like, I'm kind of good doing okay on my own, but I sort of miss it. I miss it, and but whatever. And now your mind has decided, okay, I miss my body. I want to. I need this. I need this reunion
Yes.
of myself.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I've invited my body back into the house.
Yes.
Okay, the house we built together, we paid for together, etc. And now there's some rooms that are a bit dirty and this and that. We've got to start the cleaning process and everything. But first we need to have a discussion. And your body's going to say, listen, I've gotten used to being separated from you.
Yeah.
All right. I'm used to chilling out. I've got like I've moved into a nice little 1-bedroom flat. And
I'm bacheloring hard.
I'm bacheloring, and you know I get my groove on from time to time, and nobody flipping demands anything of me, and you know it's cool. But I kind of do miss you as well because something feels like it's missing out of my life. So what do you have to offer? All right. And you're going to say to your body, listen, well, you've said to your body already, I've been thinking about it. I really miss you. I love you, and I want to make this work between us. So I'm going to tell you what I want, and what I want is for us to have a thriving relationship again. But I'm willing to go step by step, slowly, okay? You can have some time in your bachelor pad, because you like Netflix and you're playing PlayStation and whatnot.
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
have that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your man cave.
Your man cave. So that's the hot dog you had last night.
Yeah, that's the hot dog.
That's
indeed.
the hot dog, okay? But for the most part... Okay, so you didn't have a hot dog.
No,
It was metaphorical.
Yeah, no, it was definitely
Hey,
real.
I had ribs last night.
Yeah, our ribs were okay.
Well, there you go. And you went to the man cave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You joined.
Yes.
And you said, okay, well let's have a night here and relax. And,
Nice.
Okay. But tomorrow we're gonna get back together, and we're gonna push forward.
It was my hot dog and my beer.
Oh, there you go. This is a confessional now as well.
Yeah.
But now but from today, you're going to work with me because you also want to be with me, and we're going to work together to start pushing forward to get to where we want to be in this relationship. And slowly, listening to your body, and your body also acknowledging your mind, you start to build this relationship to the point where you start to feel in unison again, and you feel good. And the feeling good will be, you know, when you start to lose the weight. I mean, already you said today you've lost 1.5 kilos in a week.
Yeah,
and
2.5.
Two
I
and a
was
half.
very impressed.
2.5.
Yeah.
And even now, you know, watching you, there's a smile that just sort of comes on your face. You know,
2.5.
Yeah, I'm proud of that.
Your whole body.
I am proud of
shifted.
that 2.5. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the body wants that.
Yes.
It was the body that went like that.
Yeah.
You know, which is great.
Yeah.
So a few other things that you can do, and I'll shift a little bit from, you know, the weight loss challenge and getting into shape challenge and going back to injury. When somebody's had an injury, a severe injury, it's like a separation.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are some theories, especially the psychoanalysts and the depth psychologists, that would say that there's no accident. There's no such thing as accidents. It's the unconscious playing out through injuries, through disease, through all of these things. There's reasons for these things, okay? And what happens with these injuries sometimes is that most of the time, is that the body just refuses to work anymore. It's like, I'm done. You're not listening to me, you're abusing me, in fact. Okay. I'm benching myself into a flippin' coma every day, and my life is, I'm doing stuff. And my unconscious, where there's wisdom in the unconscious, says, listen, right, you're not listening to me. I've given you a few little clues, feeling down, feeling in pain, etc. You're not listening to that. So now, injury.
Yeah.
And there's a separation. And if you think about it, so many times with injuries, how a person's whole life shifts.
Yes.
There's a shift in one's life. I mean, obviously, I was coming to the end of my career. You know, I was 32 or 33 years old. I had a pretty decent 12, 13-year rugby career. But I was sore. But I kept trying to push through. And eventually, my back just said, I've had enough. I cannot play anymore. I'm done.
Yeah. So many knocks you can take.
Yeah, divorce.
Yeah.
And the thing is, my mind could remember what I was like. I could remember, even now, I can remember what I felt like when I was 26 years old. You know, strong and fit and, you know, jacked and ready and energized and just wanting to go. And it's even something now that I've had to learn when I'm training now, to really to listen to my body and go, okay, yeah, that little pain, like, you know, I'll give myself a little stroke and say, okay, don't worry, body, I'm not going to push you through to that. You're not going to go onto the rugby field and get smashed by Maoris.
Yeah.
Okay. We're just gonna go to yoga.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
It's a little lighter than that. Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit lighter. I'm gonna push a little bit. You know, the body, and my body's going, you promise? I'm like, I promise. Okay, I'm gonna push. And then sometimes the body will react and go, okay, no, I'm feeling good now. All right, so tomorrow let's see if we can do some squats. Yeah. Cool. No more than 60, 70 kilos, but you know, that sort of thing. So part of the comeback program, this program that I designed it's designed to help people reconnect themselves through their minds to their bodies again. And how you do that is there's certain meditations, visualizations. So how you get your body to listen to your mind is instead of the other way around. Because the mind, you know, I've been talking more about the mind listening to the body. How you get the body to listen to the mind is through things like visualization, you know, where you're using your mind to tap into your body. So you can sit and you can actually feel, you know, if you had to do one now for your quest, as it were now, you could visualize yourself what it will feel like when you've reached your goal weight.
Yes.
Okay. And you could take 5 minutes every day, and you could create a scenario in your mind. You could imagine what it would be like to be 85 kilos or 80 kilos in shape. What would that feel like? I suspect there would be a certain amount of joy that would come with you. There would be a certain amount of vitality that you would have. And you could become so specific with that. You could think, okay, well, how would people around me even behave? Yeah. You know, if I was at, say, a party, you know, I'm just thinking aloud here. You have sort of you visualize or imagine a goal weight celebratory party with a few, you know, with Kasim and a few other close friends. You know, and the people you love around you.
The gala dinner.
So that's exactly what we're doing.
So that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So now you imagine the gala dinner and yourself standing up there in a suit that's been tailored to you.
Which you can actually fit in, which is great.
You know,
exactly.
And then really, and how people would come and greet you and how you would be to those people. And through that whole visualization exercise, you start to get your body to start responding to going, okay, this is going to be good for our relationship. Okay.
That makes so much sense, because since we started the challenge, I got on the treadmill for the first time in a long time now. My body was willing to go further than I expected it to be honest with you, which was amazing. It didn't go anywhere near where it was 10 years ago, but like it still went.
It's been in the bachelor pad. I told you.
Been in the bachelor pad, absolutely. So I've got this visualization that 10 years ago me is pretty much 2Ks down the road, and I'm trying to catch him. Yeah. And I'm hoping by the end of the year to overtake 10 years ago me, because
that's lovely.
I remember the exact mark I could get to in 20 minutes on the treadmill, so I'm trying to reach that.
That's brilliant. So I mean, you see, you're doing it already. It's and it's interesting listening to both of you as well, because you're in the reconciliatory process already. You decided, and your body's coming along with you. You know, so, and you've done it on your own. You know, there's no the skills you have are fine to be able to do to be able to be reconnecting yourselves to yourself. Sometimes, and especially with severe injuries, for example, with sports people as well, you need a mediator to come in. Okay, and that's what I do. You know, I mean, I'm saying it metaphorically.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
But the therapist would be the mediator. And you come into therapy and you talk these things through. And through talking these things through, you start to integrate yourself again, where the body and mind start to integrate. And also the social aspects, because, you know, that's something that, you know, I've left out of this conversation a little bit. But the social aspect would be your kids, perhaps. You know, you and your wife are fighting. Your kid's left out, you know, playing by himself or herself. Okay. So what happens is when your body and mind start to integrate again, your social aspects of the self start to come in, and now you're a family. You know, it's now you're out again. You're at the gala dinner. You're feeling good. You're feeling invigorated.
Able to take your shirt off at the beach.
You take your shirt off.
You know what I mean?
Know.
Yeah. There's all these things that a lot of people think of. I mean, I hear people talking about, well, I swim with my T-shirt on because I don't want people to see me.
Sure.
You know, and it's
a thing.
It is a thing,
People
and
do that.
and so I mean, what can you say to those people who are perhaps in that situation right now?
I would say that, look, I mean, if that gives them comfort, you know, sometimes you don't want to rip away something that gives somebody comfort, but I would say, you know, start the reconciliatory process of the body and mind. You know, if you feel that you can do something outside of, you know, people who really struggle with insulin levels and you know, thyroid and this and that, it's a small percentage of people who do. But if you're overweight, if you're feeling lethargic, you feel that your body is not where you want it to be, start with something. There's something that you could do. You could go for a walk. Walking's great. You know, look at your diet. There's going to be something in your diet that you shouldn't be eating.
For sure.
You know, cut out one thing for a week and see how it goes. Cut out bread
sugar
for 1 week. Cut out sugar for 1 week and see how it goes with that. You know, and you'll see that there these incremental gains that you will take. I mean, you got to give it at least a week or two, at least. You know, you're not going to go, you know, one day with no sugar and a walk and then step on the scale and be 5 kilos down.
But have that conversation between your brain and your body first.
You've got to have that conversation. You've got to sit and you've got to think, what do I want for myself? That's what you guys did. In some way, shape or form. Like, what do I want? I don't want to feel like this anymore. The present is unbearable to me, and I want the future to be more ideal. And I need to do something to join these two, to move from here to here.
Another thing we're touching on with this project is a healthier way of living, a healthier way of eating. And yes, for the guys out there who are struggling, and not just guys, women as well who are struggling, and in the average colored community or colored home, bread plays a big part in what we eat, right? So what do you suggest is a replacement to bread that is still going to be, number one, affordable, and secondly, as nutritious as like I buy the honey oat bread, or I buy the cranberry bread because I love it. You know what I mean? And it's still a healthier version of bread. What would you recommend then would be the replacement? Just your opinion.
Look, bearing in mind I'm not a dietitian, I take absolutely no responsibility for anything that I say here. But my understanding of weight loss, is calories in, calories out.
Yes.
Right. If you want to lose weight, if that's your goal, to lose weight, you've got to consume less calories than you are burning, I think.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And what you burn in a day is your maintenance calories. I mean, that's outside of exercise and all of that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So in terms of the bread, what you're saying, what I'm hearing is that in the colored community, that bread plays a big role in their diet.
Yes.
Okay. And it will be something very, very difficult to give up. So now, if bread is something that you're not prepared to give up, because I would say get rid of it, cut it out. There's a whole lot of studies as well coming out recently how diet affects your mental health. You know, and we know that simple sugars, simple carbohydrates, has a huge impact on inflammation in the body and in the brain.
Yes.
There's massive links between...
I read that as well. So it's one of the reasons why I went, no more bread.
More bread, no more sugar.
Yes.
Yeah.
So...
I don't do sugar at all, other than in my Coke.
Exactly.
But now the Coke is gone.
So my advice that I take no responsibility for from a dietary perspective is cut it out completely.
Okay.
Even if it's part of the cultural norm, etc.
Yes.
If I want to live a healthier life, cut it out. Okay. If it's something I cannot do because I really love bread and I want it and I don't feel like it's affecting my mental health at all or anything, then cut it down. Okay. Instead of having like a half a loaf a day, say to yourself, I'm going to have 2 slices. All right. In terms of replacing it with something, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. From a dietary perspective, I'm not sure. I personally, I try and cut it out. I'd rather, instead of eating a sandwich, I'd make myself a smoothie.
Look, you also get low carb versions of bread. The problem is they're about 3 times the price.
The price,
Yeah,
exactly.
the price. You start eating healthier, the price goes up.
Exactly,
which
and
is a
that's
problem.
what I'm saying.
And I don't think rice cakes are really going to cut what you're talking about.
No, definitely not.
So
So
I mean,
it's finding that balance, and because I love a good sandwich. I'm
too.
I'm the king
I love a
at
sandwich.
making sandwiches.
This place, Canela, has the best toasties you'll ever can see in your life.
Yes.
So that's the thing. I love a good sandwich.
For me, it's pastries. Like samosas and pies and stuff. Oh, I love.
And then that's my mother-in-law. Then it's over. You know what I mean? And it's done. I brought you some num-nums, and it's samosas and pies and all of these
maybe
things.
that's where you just go to your man cave, you have that, and your body comes back to reality afterwards.
Yeah.
So you give yourself an evening. You give yourself a day.
Yeah, a
And
cheat day.
You give yourself a cheat day, but you stick to it. So
Yes.
the communication between your body and your mind needs to be needs to be good.
Yes.
Where your body needs to realize, listen, if you want to come back into the main house, in the mind as well, you can have your man cave, but when you're in the main house, you got to abide by the rules that we together have come up with.
Yes.
Okay. Which means that you don't get your pastries every day.
Yeah.
All right, you get, or you can have a pastry, not 4.
Yeah.
Listen, the other thing that you can do as well is something very important with you guys specifically, and also it falls into the injury, mind-body disconnection thing, is that when you have done something good for yourself, when you've stuck to that path, that journey of excellence, because that's really what you're on. You're using your ambition to push yourself forwards to some sort of excellent future.
Yeah.
All right. Is when you have achieved something on that, all right, is to recognize that and to reward yourself. I'm not saying reward yourself with pastries.
Yeah.
Okay. But you've got to figure out some sort of reward system. And often it can come from a social aspect. So, you to say to your loved ones, etc.,
We're going
communicate it. Well, if you can. But even a small thing, just say, listen, I've done this. I've lost 2.5 kilos. You need to tell me what a wonderful man I am.
That needs to happen.
I'm obviously being hyperbolic, but there are ways of, and it's important that you surround yourself with people, while you're on this journey, who understand and appreciate what it is you're actually trying to do.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
We're pretty much out of time, but I wanted to ask you, would you be up for doing another podcast sometime in the next few weeks or so? And
Definitely.
maybe we can get some questions from people who watch the podcast.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Yeah.
I
maybe
think
we
it
can
would be.
pose some of those questions to you and might be able to help a couple of people.
I think
100%,
Trevor's also
I'd
got to
love
come to the gala dinner, hey?
I think so.
I think he's got to
When
come
is
to
the gala dinner?
Oh, at the end of the 12
At the end of the
weeks.
12
End of
weeks.
the 12 weeks,
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
See you guys in your suits.
Yes.
I'm gonna try and shed 5 kilos as well. This is very motivating for me.
What do you need to share?
No, I do. I carry here and here.
Use the hashtag.
You see, it's
if you're
everybody.
posting anything, use the hashtag so you can be a part of the journey.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Listen,
Cool.
thanks so much for having me on there.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you.
are
Thank
so
you.
welcome.
It was
Thank
amazing.
you for being part of
you.
it as well, and giving us such great advice as well.
Amazing,
It's really
amazing
cool.
advice.
Great
Pleasure.
insight.
Pleasure.